compilation of our latest videos.
I went to the gym by myself for the first time as a girlie with gym anxiety, and this is what I did.
So you want to start lifting weights, but you don't know where to start.
Voice over time, baby.
Come with me as a fat girl to try reformer Pilates.
We're breaking down the wild world of plus-size fitness. Let's talk about why a cardio marathon might be the perfect example of how beginners confuse movement with actual fitness progress.
I went to the gym by myself for the first time as a girlie with gym anxiety, and this is what I did. This is day 2, week 1 of Gym with Jam. Firstly, I had to get an energy drink to hype me up because I was so nervous. As I was walking through the doors, I actually felt sick, but when I was in there, I felt so fine. To start off my workout, I did a 10-minute warm-up walk on the treadmill. I then went over to this bike, I did 30 minutes on this. I struggled turning this on. I had no idea how to do it. This literally killed my legs. As I got off, my legs were shaking, but that's the good part. I then went over to this, and I don't even know what it's called, so please let me know. And I did 3 sets of this, and each set I was going up. To end the morning, I went back on the treadmill and did 7 speed with a 9 incline for about 13 minutes, and I was wrecked. I was happy with what I did, and I was so proud of myself for going by myself. Gym anxiety is real.
Treadmill for 10 minutes. Then 30 minutes of bike like you're training for the Tour de France instead of trying to improve body composition. 30 minutes of cycling as your second exercise. And then the final boss, the treadmill again. Hours of cardio while ignoring the machines that actually matter. Excess cardio does way less for fat loss than people think. If your goal is fat loss, strength, and fixing the metabolic slowdown that comes with chronic cardio, you want compound lifts, squats, deadlifts, rows, presses. This shows the exact crossroads so many beginners get stuck at. You're trying to overcome gym anxiety, you want weight loss, you want to feel proud, but you're stuck in the cardio loop that fitness culture keeps selling because it feels safe and familiar, even though cardio alone isn't going to give you the fat loss, visceral fat reduction, body recomposition, or metabolic health transformation you're actually looking for. The diet plays the biggest role in weight loss. Your gut microbiome influences cravings and inflammation. Lifting weights dramatically improves mental health and resilience. Building muscle burns more calories than walking on a treadmill, and compound lifts like squats, deadlifts, rows, bench presses, and hip hinges are the true foundation of fitness because they train the entire body, stimulate the nervous system, improve posture, fight insulin resistance, and actually shape your physique in a way cardio never could.
Yay, we go to the same gym. I felt the same when I first started, but everyone is so focused on themselves they won't even notice things like you not knowing how to turn something on, etc. Well done again.
Let's move on to the next TikTok, where you go from cardio warrior to squat instructor faster than your form can keep up.
So you want to start lifting weights, but you don't know where to start, and you're feeling really intimidated by going to the gym. You want to make sure that the bar isn't resting on your neck, but on your back. And yes, just start with the bar, and then work your way up in 5-pound increments. Feet shoulder width apart, and keep your back straight. A trick that can help is actually taking your toes and pointing upwards. This will prevent you from doing some bad form. I'm still learning, but I'm happy to share everything that I'm learning along the way.
Sharing is great, but teaching squats before mastering squats is like trying to tutor someone in algebra while you're still counting on your fingers. You're literally saying, point your toes upward, this will prevent you from doing bad form, while simultaneously doing the worst form. Pointing your toes up doesn't fix anything. What does is shift your balance backward, tighten your core, and force your chest up. What happens is your chest drops because of weak abs, your knees drift forward, and you can't hit depth because you aren't engaged enough to stabilize the bar. Also, your shoes have elevated heels, which for your situation may be bad. What comes to my mind to correct this is a front squat, but what would actually help you, and the people you're trying to coach, is starting with dumbbell goblet squats, because those force your torso upright, build core stability, teach proper hip mechanics, and keep you from collapsing forward like you did. It's not glamorous, but it's how you build to perfect barbell form.
Hi, if I may say, I was having trouble squatting with ankle mobility and used the TRX machines to do bodyweight squats and get more comfortable.
Next, the standing core workout that replaces lifting weights.
Voice over time, baby. I haven't done one of these in a while, so let's do a core workout for beginners. Y'all, this is amazing because we're not laying down and we're not using weight. Okay, so all you have to do is imitate with your hands that you are holding a dumbbell, but you're not. And dude, you're standing up. Like, come on now. Anyways, but the biggest thing here in this workout is that you have to keep your core tight throughout the whole time, okay? It's essential. I did 12 reps on each leg and keeping my core tight at all times. I did this for 3 sets and yeah, feel the burn, baby. Yes. Okay, bye.
You're basically doing knee raises and calling it a core workout like it's some fat loss hack. Meanwhile, the whole video accidentally exposes the entire fitness myth people get stuck in, training your abs while having 60+ pounds of fat covering them. If you actually want a strong core, you need compound lifts, deadlifts, squats, carries, rows, presses. These exercises destroy your core in the best way possible. They train your abs to brace, stabilize, and support real load. Doing abs when you're obese isn't bad, it's just inefficient and not the priority. The priority is fat loss. Fat loss comes from diet, lifting weights, building muscle, improving insulin sensitivity, and cleaning up the gut microbiome, not from 3 sets of standing knee tucks while holding invisible dumbbells.
As a fellow girl with a tummy, how do you know you're engaging your core? I be so confused.
This made me want to shit and throw up at the same time. Is that normal?
The final evolution of low-effort fitness content.
Come with me as a fat girl to try reformer Pilates for the first time. When we got there, we had to do a bunch of tests to check our mobility and flexibility. Here's me absolutely failing the push-up test. These machines had me kind of nervous, so I did check in advance if there was a weight limit on them. On these particular ones, there was not. One thing I found really interesting and refreshing is our instructor kept reminding us to slow down, because these exercises were about connecting with your body and feeling your muscles engage. Climbing on a box on top of the machine was not on my bingo card for this, and I'm not gonna lie, I was shitting myself. But once I was up there, I felt safe and secure. I think it definitely helped that I knew I looked damn fine in my new AQ Active set, and you can bend over without them going see-through. See you next week, besties.
Pilates being used as an aesthetic, not a workout. Let me make this clear. Reformer Pilates is not bad. It's just not remotely effective for someone who needs strength, muscle, metabolic improvement, and fat loss as the foundation. Pilates is incredible after you've built strength, after you've created stability, after you've established a baseline of fitness. But using Pilates as a primary training method when you can't perform a basic push-up is wrong. The instructor kept reminding you to slow down and connect with your body. Respectfully, what muscles are we connecting to when the resistance is basically the weight of a feather? There's a difference between mindful movement and pretending you're training. Look, I'm doing something for the camera. If you want to connect with your body, amazing. But if you want to change your body, you need to eat for fat loss. This wasn't a workout. It was all for TikTok.
I really want to do a plus-size Pilates class because I am scared to do it normally.
Let's finish with outdoor fitness equipment, the lowest effort imaginable. Movements that do nothing. Except maybe the leg press. Anyone understands there are no muscles worked here. These machines are literally designed for casual stretching. They're even easier than reformer Pilates. They don't even raise your heart rate to qualify as cardio, at least. It feels like exercise, but it does nothing that exercise is supposed to do. If you want any progress, walk. Seriously, a brisk walk has more metabolic impact than those machines. Just walk. Outdoor equipment isn't evil, but it's not training. It's not enough. At best, it's a break during your walk. So there's no point in that workout. Not for fat loss, not for strength, not for muscle, not for health.
Walk 10K steps a day and be on a calorie deficit and are good.
Still saving those $10. You look a lot healthier, but I'd still invest in the gym.
Despite all the questionable workouts, I genuinely respect that all of them are showing up and trying. Taking that first step is always worth applauding. Jordan had to tell us something. She is responding to a comment that says, "Your body will shut down in the next 3 years if you don't wake up." This is a video from March that I've somehow missed. Let's try to understand her contradictions.
Comments like this really take me out for a whole host of reasons. First and foremost, you don't know me. Assuming that that was the first piece of my content that you've seen one video of me dancing, which, table that, we'll get back to that. You've seen one video of me dancing, and you've filled in a lifetime of blanks with a fan theory that you have about my life and what my life looks like and has looked like to get me to this point today.
Well, of course we can get most assumptions right. Getting to your weight, it takes a lot of calories a day, extreme amounts of foods consumed. This is not even assumption, but a fact. So as the commenter says, if you continue this path, your body will fail, which is also a highly accurate assumption based on science. And this cuts both ways, because you also don't know the commenter, yet you assign them an entire belief system. So you're condemning assumptions by making bigger assumptions.
Today. Getting back to the dance piece, if you don't wake up, by wake up, you mean be thin. Okay, so I'm gonna channel your mind. I'm fatphobic. Okay. I want this person to be thin. How do you become thin? You can get surgery. Okay, sure. You can take Ozempic. Okay, sure. Or you can diet and exercise, which typically people like you, that's the thing that you want fat people to do, right? Is diet and exercise. Okay, so you commented this on a video of me dancing. What is dance? Exercise.
Why group them together? Diet and exercise. As you can't lose weight solely by better eating choices. Because you want to ignore the diet part. That part is the obvious one. That is what the commenter actually says. And how can you say we don't know anything just by observation? Is this logic also true for everything else? Is observation invalid everywhere?
90% of my content at this point is just videos from me taking dance classes. So, and with that, I circle back to point one, which is that you don't know me. All you know is what I choose to post, right? So sure, that could mean that I live like a deeply unhealthy, whatever the fuck that means to you, lifestyle outside of what I'm posting, right? But actually you don't know that to be true because you don't know anything. You only know what I post. And so if you had any sort of discernment, any sort of critical thinking skills, right? You see a fat person in a dance class. If I held your belief system, I would be like, slay, this person is doing what I want them to do. This fat person is exercising and that's what I want fat people to do so they don't become fat anymore. So that's good. But because you don't actually even subscribe to your own belief system, you just want to be able to shit on somebody.
Aren't you doing the same here? You are assuming their belief system. You assume what they believe based on one sentence they wrote. You're inventing an opponent who only exists in your head. Also, you're conflating criticism of your outcome with criticism of your actions. Health versus healthy actions.
And that group of people that you've decided to shit on is fat people because it makes you feel better about your sad, fucking, pathetic ass life. You are so triggered at the idea of a fat person, I don't know, existing, even doing the thing that you want them to do. You're so triggered by that, you can't even take 2 seconds to scroll through my page that will tell you that I'll say it. Because why not? Let's be honest. I've lost 200 pounds in the last 2 years.
You were scared to admit that you lost weight because of what your community will think. So okay, now you are fatphobic. Losing weight is fatphobic, and you're defending an ideology that claims weight loss doesn't matter while citing weight loss as proof. Or in fact, if weight loss isn't relevant, why bring it up?
Be honest, I've lost 200 pounds in the last 2 years. So what does wake up look like to you? And why the fuck do you think that it's any of your goddamn fucking business what the fuck I do?
Sorry, that got a little heated. I feel very strongly about this subject because the sentiment that this commenter holds and is spreading via hate comments on mine, and I can only assume other fat people's posts, it kills people. Anti-fatness kills people. Weight bias in medicine kills people of all sizes. Minority stress kills people. And fatphobic people walk around all day telling fat people that we're gonna die because of our size. And they never address any of those other things. They harass fat people for exercising. They harass us for not exercising. They harass us for eating a salad. They harass us for eating a burger. It doesn't fucking matter to these people because at the end of the day, they are hypocrites. They don't care about our life. They don't care about our health. They care about having someone to punch down on. And they pick us because they know that culturally right now, they will have to face no repercussions and no accountability for their violent, bigoted language. Telling someone that you don't know, that you know nothing about, that they're gonna die in 3 years is violent. Since I was 12 years old, people have been telling me that I was gonna die in 3 years. I'm 28. So,
This is not a flex. It's tragic that you think you've beaten the odds.
in 3 years, I'm 28. So, I'm so sorry, but it's not happening. And if I did die right now, if I had a heart attack right now, like y'all think is gonna happen, you wouldn't know. Actually, you wouldn't know. And it wouldn't matter to you, right? Because at the end of the day, you want that. You want that to happen. You want to feel like your body is superior as someone who holds anti-fat beliefs. You like that you get to live in the superior body. So, okay, congratulations. I don't know, you want a medal? You want a cookie? Oh, you can't have a cookie. That'll make you fat. Oh no. Like, give it up. If you're fat and you've made it through this long ass video, I want you to know that I love you and that you just don't listen to these people because they're full of shit. They've always been full of shit. They will always be full of shit. Fat people have always existed. And regardless of whether you are disabled or able-bodied, if you are healthy or unhealthy, you deserve care and compassion and access to care and safety. And that's it. There's nothing else to say. Like, that is true. So, I love you. Bye.
Nothing here makes sense. Saying the commenter is obsessed and triggered while making 6-minute angry rant is wild. Also, what doesn't make sense is that you don't want this person to be obsessed and watch your video, yet you have a public TikTok account. Clearly you want attention and want to grow your business, otherwise this will be a private account. Let's see a discussion she had in the comments section.
Also, wake up, as if you can just choose to not be fat in the morning? Do they think one day you'll wake up and just be skinny? BRB, just gonna shed 100 pounds in my sleep.
Yeah, so that is literally how it works. You wake up one day and decide to start making a change. And why is the assumption made that I don't care for my health? Because you allowed yourself to fall into unhealthy habits which you now have to work to reverse in order to maintain a quality of life? Healthy people don't need to make vids on social media crying about how they should be allowed to use a wheelchair. You're right, disabled people do, like myself. My connective tissue disorders that were ignored for years by doctors due to their anti-fat bias put me in a wheelchair. Please explain how having connective tissue diseases impacts your ability to not consume excessive calories and in turn put on excessive weight. It's a simple in versus out equation. The disorders allowed over 100 pounds of fluid to accumulate in my legs, alongside large amounts of scar tissue. Those things impeded my mobility. You are making assumptions about my caloric intake, movement practice that are not based in any truth. You can and will believe what you believe, but you do not know me or anything ab my intake. Instead of worrying so much ab my health, it might be time to look inward. BC healthy people don't obsess this much about strangers on the internet. Your thought process is so all over the place.
You ate and I've scrolled pretty far down and I can definitely see results. You go girl.
Thank you, though it's not results, it's just my body changing as my life changes. I loved my body before and I'm working on loving it now as well. Appreciate you.
The only thing I know is that video you say with your friend losing weight is not body positive. Happy this movement is not a trend anymore because my God.
Fat activist with ridiculous claim. Basically, people hate on weight loss surgery because they want fat people to suffer.
Let's talk about the hierarchy of weight loss, which in the GLP-1 era is something that is so important to speak on. In our culture, weight loss surgery, and to a slightly lesser extent, GLP-1s, are very culturally looked down upon. Whereas weight loss natural weight loss, right, is very much valorized.
Right out of the gate, you want the viewer to believe this hierarchy exists because society is cruel and obsessed with suffering. Even if we accept your narrative, what you immediately dodge is the simplest explanation. People respect effort. If people admire natural weight loss, they are admiring behavioral change.
And the reason for that is because people view using any kind of like medical aid as cheating. Because to them, weight loss is something that should be achieved through hard work and discipline. And they do not believe that there is any hard work and discipline involved in using an outside tool like a surgery or a medication. This whole mentality is just fatphobia. It's just an extension of fatphobia, and it prevents people who have wanted to use tools like weight loss surgery or GLP-1s from being fully accepted into the thin fold after they lose enough weight to appear thin.
You keep using fatphobia all around. But notice how convenient it is that the term never has a stopping point. Respect effort? Fatphobia. Value self-control? Fatphobia. Prefer methods that don't involve lifelong medication or organ alteration? Fatphobia. Also, I think this is manufactured conflict. Natural weight loss versus medical weight loss to benefit this narrative. The real evidence-based medical community doesn't see it this way. The latest guidance, published just this year, states clearly, lifestyle intervention remains the mainstay of the treatment strategy to manage obesity. It is the foundation. Surgical and pharmacological tools are then added for suitable patients when that foundation is insufficient for the level of clinical risk. Also, the reason the stereotypes exist is because, for the overwhelming majority, carrying excessive body fat is a direct outcome of an energy balance that prioritizes consumption over expenditure. You can spend 5 minutes on Google and see the complex interplay of genetics and environment, but the fundamental equation is calories in versus calories out. When your visible state is one of chronic energy surplus, the natural conclusion drawn is one of lacking restraint. That isn't phobia, but observation, confirmed by simple math.
Appear thin. And I think that a lot of what this has to do with is the Protestant work ethic that we are raised with in the United States. It's a very Puritan thing where it's not just that we expect hard work and you're supposed to reap the rewards of your hard work. You're not supposed to use something else that helps you. You're not supposed to have help. You're supposed to do it all on your own. It's individualism. It's bootstraps. It's whatever. And so if somebody doesn't do that, then it's like, well, they took the easy way out. They cheated. They may look thin, but they are not truly internally thin, because what thin means is disciplined. And if they use this, they're not disciplined, so they don't really get accepted into the fold of being thin. Now, what is this mentality rooted in? Well, duh, it's just the same thing as fat phobia, because this is the ideology of fat phobia. It's saying that fat people are undisciplined, are lazy, are blah, 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 and that's why thin people are better. So if you do a weight loss method that isn't seen as being better, then
to a lot of people, you do not truly count as thin and do not deserve the social privileges of thinness. Which, by the way, are like being treated with respect and having decent medical care and having clothes that fit you. And the idea that not everybody deserves these things is incredibly insidious, and that's another video. But that's why there's this hierarchy of weight loss. It's just fat phobia. It's just who lost weight according to what fat phobia deems as the proper, correct way, and who lost weight in a way that's like not as valorized in our culture, because it exemplifies, at least in our cultural imagination, because like, hold on a second here, you get weight loss surgery, that's fucking harrowing. If it's about suffering, if it's about discipline, if it's about hard work, like, I'm sorry, read Remy Bader's article talking about it. Holy shit, it sounds awful.
Surgery and GLP-1 drugs are acts of heroic suffering. This is where your argument quietly eats itself. You claim society thinks these methods lack discipline, then you respond by saying they involve suffering, therefore they must count as discipline. But pain and discipline are not synonyms. Recovery from surgery is not the same as choosing restraint every day in an environment engineered to encourage excess. One is a medical intervention imposed from the outside. The other is internal regulation repeated thousands of times. Surgery bypasses the habit loop rather than retraining it. That is the entire point. Your Remy Bader example is emotional, not analytical. Chemotherapy is intense too. Nobody calls it disciplined character development. When people say surgery is the easy way, what they mean is easier relative to sustained behavioral overhaul, not easier in a sensory sense. Fewer decisions, fewer daily battles, a forced ceiling instead of learned restraint.
And ditto GLP-1s, although maybe to not quite the same extent, because in surgery, obviously, your anatomy is literally being changed around and you're dependent on supplements for the rest of your life to get enough nutrients to live. You are basically being medically starved. And I don't say that to tell you not to get the surgery, make your own decision, whatever. But I'm telling you, like, you're getting 80% of your stomach cut out, girl. You're working hard. You're going through it. And a lot of times when people say this stuff about fat people and they're like, you know, oh, all fat people are lazy, blah, blah, blah. Like, what they want fat people to do in becoming thin is suffer. They think you should have to suffer to become thin because you're such a horrible person, clearly, for being fat, and you deserve to suffer because fat people are horrible. That's like probably, you know, maybe people don't say that out loud, but like that is the logic. And so the idea that someone is suffering less because they got weight loss surgery is actually quite funny to me. I think it's at least equal suffering because the mechanics are the same in that you're losing weight because you're taking in less calories than you're expending. But like, you're doing that after having had a major medical procedure that's going to have lifelong impacts and potentially has really severe complications. And then you have to deal with all the social implications and the stigma.
You imply that if someone doesn't applaud every weight loss method equally, they secretly believe fat people deserve worse medical care, fewer clothes, and less dignity. That's a cheap move. Wanting people to take responsibility for their health does not imply they deserve mistreatment. And the claim that people are medically starved is a gross exaggeration designed to elicit sympathy. The goal is nutrient sufficiency at a lower caloric intake. The core of your victim complex, a ridiculous projection, is that we want fat people to suffer. No one wants anyone to suffer. What people respect is effort and self-control. The suffering you speak of is simply the necessary discomfort of change. Discomfort.
Stigma. So like, weight loss surgery is not the easy way out. GLP-1s are not the easy way out, although if you have an underlying condition, it certainly can make weight loss a lot easier. But like, not only is this idea really mean and cruel and fat phobic, if anyone still cares about that, it's also just wrong. It's plain wrong. So that is why natural weight loss is valorized, and you'll see it everywhere. You'll see it with celebrities. You'll see it with people who deny having surgery, who don't share it for a while, like Remy Bader. You'll see it in comments. People comment. Sometimes on my posts that I'm just talking about being fat or whatever, they'll comment, I lost 100 pounds naturally. And they have to let you know it was natural, that they're good people because they did it naturally without help. And it's just American culture. Like, that's what it is. It's American culture, and American culture is fat phobia, and it's all entwined. And I probably sound crazy to many of you, but this is unfortunately just facts. Ultimately, it comes down to hierarchy, stereotype, and ego, and looking down on weight loss surgery is exactly the same logic as looking down on the people who are still fat.
Your obsession with thin privilege exposes the deeper issue. You talk about thinness as a social club with secret entry rules, not a physical state correlated with better metabolic markers. Even if we say that people treat thinner individuals differently, part of that comes from unconscious evolutionary biological bias, and part of it may come from associating visible health markers with reliability and self-regulation. And why do you mock people who say, "I lost 50 pounds naturally"? Pause and think why they say it. They're not declaring moral purity. They're signaling that their habits changed and stayed changed. Statistics show long-term weight maintenance is significantly higher when loss is behavior-driven rather than intervention-dependent. When someone emphasizes natural, they are talking about sustainability. And your entire framing treats the body as something that just happens to you. That worldview removes agency, then complains that society responds as if agency matters. When someone trains their body into a healthier state through routine, they demonstrate impulse control and delayed gratification. Those traits are rewarded everywhere: careers, relationships. And the claim that these methods, GLP-1s and surgery, are not the easy way out is almost laughably transparent. While they involve medical complications and side effects, their primary effect is to mechanically or chemically eliminate the struggle of hunger and portion control, which is precisely the hard part of non-medically assisted weight loss. To deny this is to deny the entire pharmacological mechanism of action of drugs like semaglutide, which drastically reduces appetite and cravings. Trying to shout down the logical conclusion that when you take the path of least resistance, the accolades diminish accordingly, is wild. You're mad because people see the difference. But fat acceptance is a movement built on denial, so this makes sense. So no, this isn't a secret hierarchy engineered by fatphobia priests. It's a reflection of how we evaluate effort. Surgery and GLP-1 drugs are tools, sometimes necessary ones, and nobody should be shamed for using them. But pretending they're indistinguishable from behavioral change is wrong. You don't get to redefine discipline.
The cheating part refers to how the tool is doing most of the work for you, or forcing you to comply, versus on your own you have to overcome your mind.
Also, some people have conditions that make natural weight loss much more challenging.
Personally, I still struggle with intentional weight loss and its ties to fat phobia. It feels inherently fat phobic to choose to lose weight.
Skinny people say some of the most outrageous shit ever to fat people. It's insane. One thing skinny people love to say is, "You're not fat, you're beautiful." Or some rendition of that. I don't know why this is skinny people's first reactions to a fat person acknowledging the fact that they're fat. I don't get it. The two are not mutually exclusive. You could be fat and beautiful. Sorry.
Sure. One doesn't negate the other. Maybe. To a point. And this is just a social discomfort and trying to be nice. But you want to conflate aesthetic preference with biological fact. When a skinny person says, "You're not fat, you're beautiful," they are, often clumsily, trying to disentangle your worth from your size. They are attempting kindness by rejecting the label you just applied to yourself. And any attempt to separate it from your identity is seen as an attack. It's a rhetorical trap. You insist on declaring, "I am fat," but heaven forbid anyone else treats you as if you are fat.
Or some people act like you're calling yourself the worst thing on the planet. They'll be like, "Don't say that about yourself. You're beautiful. Do not say that. You are not fat." I just can't deal with like me saying something about being fat, not even in a negative connotation. Like, I'm not saying like, "Oh my god, I feel like I look so fat today." Just like when my fatness comes up in a casual sense. And there are skinny people who will still say to me like, "Oh my god, you're not fat. Like, don't say that about yourself." And I'm like, girl, it's...
You accuse others of cluelessness while you narrate a life where your fatness comes up in a casual sense. Let me ask you, in what casual, everyday scenario does your body size naturally become the topic of discussion? Are you ordering a coffee? "I'll have a latte, and by the way, I'm fat." Are you discussing the weather? "Looks like rain, which is fitting given my substantial adiposity." It doesn't come up casually. You bring it up. You center it. You make it the protagonist of every social interaction and then feign shock when people, socially conditioned to avoid calling people fat, fumble for a response.
It's just uncomfortable for everyone involved because, like, you obviously can see me and know that I'm fat. It's not like a bad word, it's just factual. I know sometimes they're trying to be nice, but like also how could you be like that level of clueless, you know? You would be surprised how many skinny people have commented on the way that I'm eating and are like, oh my god, I could never eat like that, I would gain so much weight. The tact gone out the window. I don't understand why you guys talk to fat people like you're infants who just learned how to speak.
This cannot be true. So they are basically saying that even though you eat like that, you are not fat. Either this never happened, or they are surprised how you are not bedridden yet. And by the way, you are visibly, undeniably obese. The food choices that led to that condition are, by definition, a matter of public record. They are written on your body every single day.
How to speak. Certain skinny men also really interestingly talk to fat women. At least in my experience, I've had men like act like they're coming to me with like a secret code. They'll be like, no, I'm telling you, if you just lost a little weight, you just gotta do intermittent fasting, hit the gym, you would be so hot. And like they act like they're telling me like a secret. If you're fat.
From a biological standpoint, he's stating the blatantly obvious, like telling someone with a house on fire that water might help. Is it unsolicited? Often, yes. Is it wrong? Not factually. The real fury here seems to stem from the fact that he's bypassing your demanded narrative, that you are perfect as is, and pointing to the single greatest variable you have total control over. You're not angry at the advice, you're angry that it highlights your own agency in a situation you've framed as immutable.
If you're fat and you talk about weight loss in front of a skinny person, honestly, even if you don't bring up weight loss, you will be told how to lose weight. I don't know why they think their unsolicited advice is so important, especially because they're usually skinny people who have never lost a significant amount of weight in their life. I'll see fat girls on here who have lost 100 pounds and they're like still in their weight loss journey, and they'll have skinny people in their comments telling them everything that they're doing wrong. They lost 100 pounds already. Like, what do you mean? I think they know what they're doing.
And here's the ultimate gatekeeping fallacy. You can't comment unless you've been through it. By that logic, only oncologists who have had cancer can treat it. It's an absurd deflection. The fundamental principles of weight loss, caloric deficit, metabolic function, are not mystical secrets unlocked only by the formerly obese. They are basic thermodynamics. A skinny person who has maintained a healthy weight their entire life has, in fact, mastered the very thing you struggle with, energy balance. Their secret is consistent, moderate living. You dismissing their perspective because they haven't failed at something you're failing at is like a bankrupt person dismissing financial advice from someone who's never been in debt.
Something I've been told my whole life by skinny people that I genuinely think they believe is a compliment is telling me that I carry my weight well. Like, I've been told that literally my entire life. I genuinely think they think that they're complimenting me, but that is a weird thing to say to someone.
You carry your weight well is someone trying to find something positive to say within the framework of reality that you yourself have established by being fat. You have created a conversational minefield where the only safe option for others is utter, silent compliance with your worldview. Also, the core is that any comparative framework at all, any spectrum where bodies are evaluated, is wrong to you. You don't want to be compared to someone fatter, but you also rage against the societal standards that would compare you to someone fitter. You demand a world where your body exists in a vacuum, immune to any observation, comparison, or implication. A world where consequences don't exist.
Or they could be like, well, at least you're not like this person, and like insert the name of a celebrity or another person they know who's like fatter than you. That's fucking weird too. It's just really gross to me, the thought of like the only way that you feel like you can compliment me is by bringing down another fat person. It's bananas, but you would be surprised how often it happens. I just think that there are some skinny people that need to like hear that lesson of think before you speak once again. They just need like a refresher on that, you know?
No, what they need is a refresher on why they should bother engaging with you at all. You have constructed an identity where your defining characteristic is a condition of your own making, and then you have made that characteristic both the mandatory topic and a forbidden subject for commentary. You crave acknowledgement of your fatness, but only on your own, wholly positive, semantically controlled terms. The lesson for skinny people, for all people, isn't to think before you speak. It's to realize that with some people, no matter what you say, you will be cast as the villain.
Because to them, being fat is the worst possible outcome they can imagine. It's the scariest thing they can think of to happen to them.
When students call me fat, I say and they're shook. I don't get upset. But I like to say I have fat instead of am fat. I feel like makes it my whole identity when it's not. I'm a daughter, teacher, friend, etc. I don't know if that makes sense.
Then they say you're not fat, but they call themselves that. And then say it's not about you, then you bring it up.
Well, what do you want them to say? Yeah, lol, you were fat?
Perfect example of how body positivity culture trains people to be victims. The description says, as if all fat people just sit around eating McDonald's all day. Telling this to a complete stranger who is clearly working on themselves is absolutely uncalled for and idiotic. Things like this happen, which is why I built this platform to show and inspire others that although I have a higher body fat percentage, I can do hard things and improve over time.
I want to fucking see him again. I have never had this happen to me on a run before. Never ever. It slightly fucked up my pace too because I had to stop because I was crying and couldn't breathe.
Since she stopped crying, you might think, what in the world happened? Something very serious must have took place. But listen to what she says.
It slightly fucked up my pace too because I had to stop because I was crying and couldn't breathe. Luckily I got my mom. Very weird interaction. I think we just got fat shamed. This super athletic guy just sped past us and he was like, how's it going, ladies? We were like, we're doing great. He goes, I used to be 50 pounds heavier. Just stay away from fast food. Okay, queen.
You had to stop your run because a stranger dared to offer a how's it going and a tip. While you're caught up in the trauma of a 10-second interaction, your visceral fat is the real enemy here. I really do think that his intentions were clearly not to insult you, but to offer a bridge of empathy. He was offering motivation from a place of experience. But instead of laughing it off, you cried.
Just stay away from fast food. Okay, queen. We do not eat fast food. Very interesting take. That is what not to say when a fat person is running. Yeah, this bitch ran a half marathon. And broke her leg. That's how intense she is. Also, I lost 100 pounds, so zip the lip. Thanks for the peanut gallery.
In the world of fat acceptance and fat liberation, any mention of weight is treated like a hate crime. The deepest insecurity often screams the loudest. She gets so triggered when someone mentions her weight, even in a positive connotation. Body positivity frames even clumsy comments as fat shaming.
Use it as fuel. Keep working hard. You are doing great.
Note that he had to make it about himself. Bless his heart. And you are making it all about yourself. Full circle. Congratulations, you're a professional victim. Letting a small moment let you spiral.
Push. 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 Pass. Push. Push.
If you thought the first clip was just a misunderstanding, this next one turns the volume way up and shows how quickly health concern gets recast as hatred the moment it challenges fat acceptance.
Are you concerned for my health, babe? Are you? Is that why you're bullying me? Because you have a deep concern for my physical and my emotional well-being? Are you telling me that I'm unlovable and disgusting and you're just concerned for my health because my well-being is on the top of your priority list? That is lovely. Look, I know thin is back in. I know we're all meant to want to be as skinny as a Victorian child with dysentery, but let's call a spade, shall we? You're a little bit of a fat phobe, and you don't like seeing someone being big and fit and strong and healthy and, quite frankly, happy in their body. It messes with the messaging you've been fed that you needed to shrink to be worthy. Babe, I wish you nothing but love and light, but if you wrap up your anti-fat bias as care to me or anyone else one more time, I will shove a packet of biscuits so far down your throat that no one will have to endure your patronising comments any longer. Love ya. Mwah.
I love the love and light mixed with threats of physical assault via biscuits. It's very body positive. But let's call a spade, shall we? You claim to be big and fit, but you are ignoring the biological reality that you cannot out-train a poor diet or the inflammatory nature of visceral fat. It's not anti-fat bias to point out that carrying excess weight around your midsection is the single most dangerous place to store it. That fat isn't just sitting there. It's actively pumping out hormones that wreck your metabolic health. While you're busy fighting fat phobes on the internet, your gut microbiome is likely screaming for a break from the processed stuff. You're so worried about people wanting you to look like a Victorian child that you've completely missed the healthy middle ground, being a strong and lean. If you truly wanted fat liberation, you'd liberate yourself from the adipose tissue that increases your risk of chronic disease. Exercising is a great start, but until you trade the fat acceptance scripts for a focus on actual fat loss and building muscle, you're just performing for an audience while your longevity pays the price.
OMG, yes. Why is it so hard to understand that you can be bigger and still be fit? And, to be totally honest, even if we weren't fit, it's still none of their effing business. But this whole I'm just concerned for your health bullshit makes me want to tell people to take a nice long walk off a very short pier.
Who's there? What do you want? Are you the IT guy?
Oh, sorry, I think I'm in the wrong place. I'm here for a personal training session, but maybe there's a gym somewhere around here.
No, this is a gym. Get in, I can put you to work. Give you a workout. What did you say your name was again?
My name's Hesh.
Oh, we'll just call you little bitch from now on, because that's what you'll be. Did you want a burger?
Yeah, all right.
Nah, you failed. Big ol' fatty. Oh, that looks great. Oh, real smooth, yeah.
Are you just making me do your household chores?
No, this is a thing. It's called grocery burpees. And lift, hold, or down. You know what they say, less stains, more gains. Say it.
Less stains, more gains.
Yeah, go hard in the corners.
What a workout.
Tell your friends I've got a high-intensity gardening workout and I've got a paint-the-back shed workout too. See you next week for laundry workout.
Have fun.
Am I in the right place for the French cookery class?
Yeah. Have you done any French cooking before?
A little.
Cool. Come and cook your best dish. We'll take it from there.
There are studies that show housework can be exercise, and it's down to whether you view it as such and thereby actively engage your muscles.
This next one falls into the trap of thinking that just moving is the ultimate goal.
It will never not be humbling to have somebody walk faster than your running pace. But I'm still out here moving. That's all that matters. Big girls who run. Yeah.
Just moving isn't the flex you think it is when you're actively ignoring the science of fat loss. You're checking the box for big girls who run for the sake of the aesthetic, but from a fitness perspective, does not make sense.
Honey, you ain't running, you're also walking.
And the final clip is the perfect participation trophy finale to the fat acceptance circus. Acting like you're giving them hell, but the only thing you're fighting is the biological reality of your health.
You know what's so crazy? I have never received hate on the internet like I have in a video where I was working out, moving my body, and trying to better myself. I swear, bigger people just cannot win on this internet. Mind you, most of these comments were coming from profiles of people that were too afraid to even show their face. You mean to tell me you're gonna come on this internet and talk about me and you can't even show your face? And I'm supposed to be upset about what you're saying about me? Please. If I didn't love myself and already do the confidence work I needed to do, I would have taken all of those comments to heart and not have shared my story on the internet, which is inspiring women across my social. Babe, so let this be a learning lesson for you. Post the picture, post the content, and give them hell all year long.
Even if this is true, the claim that you've never received hate like this for a workout video may be expected reaction to the contradiction you're selling. You're posting content as extremely obese, performing what's essentially rehab-level cardio, walking, the elliptical, and calling it trying to better myself, while simultaneously framing yourself as an unstoppable, confident icon inspiring women. The brain rejects the dissonance. The so-called hate is about the celebration of dangerously insufficient effort. Posting workout content invites commentary on fitness, health, and results, not just applause.
I don't even get. The haters will say to plus-size people, oh, get to the gym, and then will be mad when plus-size people actually go to the gym. You got this, girl.
So what's the real through line in all of this? It's a cultural pivot from fat loss as a goal of health to fat acceptance as an untouchable identity. Masterpiece of self-victimization.
My name is Jonna, and I am a plus-size girl who has chronic pain. I'm just gonna be blunt, going to the doctor is like one of my biggest fears of all time. But my hip pain has reached a point that like it's not bearable. Like I don't want to get emotional. It's bad. It's really painful. So I am now back at the doctor who low-key kind of traumatized me 4 years ago. That specific doctor doesn't work here anymore. It's just an orthopedic clinic. I already know what they're going to say. They're going to be like, you're fat, lose weight. And to that, I'm going to tell them I am taking a GLP-1, which I'm not yet, but I am planning on it. I am going to. I've decided I'm going to pull the trigger and do it.
You are a, quote, plus-size girl. Right. Because calling it morbidly obese might actually imply a medical reality, and we can't have that. Notice how you present your fat, lose weight as an insult instead of what it actually is in orthopedics, the most obvious risk factor for hip pain. This is physics. Hips are load-bearing joints. That's not fatphobia. Doctors are not sitting in secret meetings rubbing their hands together going, how can I emotionally devastate plus-size patients today? They're looking at x-rays, joint mechanics, and years of data that say excess weight dramatically worsens hip degeneration and pain. So, 4 years ago, the doctor apparently suggested weight loss or bariatric surgery. 4 years later, the hip pain is worse. And somehow the lesson here is that the doctor was cruel, not that the advice might have been correct. You were low-key traumatized. Let me translate that from FA speak to English. A highly trained medical professional looked at you, identified a severe health risk, and gave you the only medically appropriate advice to save your mobility: lose weight. So traumatizing. And why planning to lie to a medical professional about GLP-1s? This is next level. You're in pain because you ignored medical advice for 4 years, and your solution is to deceive the new doctor? How does that work? Don't bully me, just accept my fiction and give me the referral I want. This is really peak fat acceptance brain rot. Actively planning to lie to an orthopedic to avoid a lecture you desperately need to hear. You are in unbearable pain, your body is failing, and your strategy is to deceive the person trying to fix you? Deeply manipulative and dangerous behavior.
Right now, my hope is just to go in there and get maybe like a referral to a physical therapist because my shit hurts. Also need to set up an appointment with my primary care doctor so I can for real get on that GLP-1 because yeah, it's time. It's time. Anyway, wish me luck in this doctor. I'm getting nervous as fuck. And I don't know. I want to make sure that I advocate for myself and stand my ground on what I want and don't let them just like bully me into talking about bariatric surgery like they did the last time. So wish me luck.
There's something deeply ironic about rejecting bariatric surgery while embracing GLP-1s. This entire video is a perfect, sad example of why the fat acceptance movement is a public health disaster.
I've lost 100 pounds and my knee still hurts because it's tendinitis. It's not always the weight.
It's counterproductive to pretend being fat isn't bad and something people should work towards changing.
Pre-existing issues can be made worse with extra weight. While you never want to pigeonhole something as being simply weight-induced, they would be doing you a disservice by ignoring it as a factor.
I didn't have any hip pain till after I started the GLP-1 and lost some weight.
You know what you say? The stupid thing about a fucking process and what pisses me off nowadays? Nothing's that fucking hard. And I'm already amped up because people have been pissing me off all day. Nothing's fucking hard. Why are you still fat? No. I'm big bone.
Oh shit.
You're not big bone. I am. You're obese. I'm not obese. Why are you so stupid? Why'd you just... You think because you know you're fucking... No, because since you're retarded and I have to bring myself down to that educational level and IQ level. IQ test. And I promise you, you're fucking retarded.
Bones don't flap when you go down the stairs, my guy.
MF's bones filled with mashed potatoes and sweet candy yams.
Being fat is literally so embarrassing. Let's just talk about it. I just feel like this is experiences that only fat people would get. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like if skinny people heard I was embarrassed about these things, they'd be like, literally what? Like, it's just not something you have to think about because you're skinny. Which, nice. Good for you. Number one I want to talk about is fast food. Going to a fast food restaurant alone while I'm fat, like through a drive-thru, for some reason is the most humiliating thing ever. I've seen people say that they sometimes order 2 drinks because they're scared that the people at the fast food restaurant are going to judge them that they ordered too much food or whatever. It's so... And then on top of that, bringing fast food like from your car to like your apartment is for some reason, like it feels like I'm doing a walk of shame. Truthfully, like it really does. Also, eating in the car. I don't know if this is something universal for all fat people or whatever, but I get so embarrassed if I'm eating in a car and like someone pulls up next to me or something. Like, we all have jobs, we all have stuff to do. Sometimes you have to eat in the car. It's really not that deep, but I'm like, they're judging me. They're like, fucking fat bitch can't even wait till she gets home. Like, no. Getting out of breath while walking up the stairs. This one is so bad and it's so embarrassing because literally, like, I feel like skinny people do get out of breath walking up the stairs sometimes if it's a lot of steps. I'll literally, like, be, like holding in, like, me having to heavy breathe because it's, like, of course she can't fucking walk up the steps. She can't even walk up the steps. Asking for a seatbelt extender on an airplane. This one is kind of sensitive to me still because it only happens every so often, like depending on the plane. I do like use most of the seat belts that are on planes, but sometimes on older planes I need an extender, and it is so embarrassing to have to ask the flight attendant for that because I feel like the people around me can hear. It's just like a humiliating experience and it makes you feel like literally not a person. I honestly could go on forever with these, so let me know if you guys want a part 2.
Not society makes me feel embarrassed, not people are cruel, just flat. Being fat is embarrassing. That's not my framing. That's the point of her video. We're constantly told that being fat is neutral, healthy at every size, and something you should love unapologetically. Yet here we are, watching her list off moments of daily shame. At some point, you have to ask whether the emotion is coming from external judgment or internal awareness that something is off. No one actually says anything to her. No one shames her. The humiliation exists entirely in her head because on some level she knows what the behavior signals. When you have to perform psychological gymnastics just to buy lunch, maybe the issue isn't society. Every example involves a physical limitation or discomfort, but none of them are about aesthetics. None are about beauty standards. They're about mobility, endurance, and fit. The embarrassment isn't coming from thin people existing. If being fat was truly okay, these videos wouldn't exist at all. You don't make confessionals about things that are working. So it cannot be both, embarrassing to be fat and okay on the other hand.
One time I brought in little cakes to share with my coworkers and no one wanted one. I went back into my office and cried. I'm sure they just weren't in the mood, but it felt connected to me being fat.
One time my coworker said, I saw you at the Burger King drive-thru yesterday, you must have been hungry. I was so embarrassed lol haven't been there since.
Stray bullet struck her right in the stomach. It pierced the skin, but started to slow down as it entered her body fat. Layer by layer, the fat absorbed more of the bullet's energy like a cushion. By the time it hit deeper tissue, The bullet had lost most of its force, coming to a stop before hitting any organs and saving her life.
So you should buy my bakes to save your life. Order from Bellflower Bakes to make your stomach bigger and bigger, protecting you from death by bullet.
I don't know what I was expecting watching this. I'm not fat, I'm bulletproof.
On today's episode of If It Look Like You Can Fit It, then you better go and get it. We gonna get
a belt extender. I am also going to use Southwest customer size policy while I can because they are getting rid of it sometime in January. But let's go, come on.
So I won't be able to use the customer size policy today.
There's no seats available. You can't oversell the flight to accommodate you. And you have to get a second seat. You will have to cancel your ticket and then you'll have to book with another airline.
Bags I just paid for, will they be refunded as well? Okay, where's Delta? Southwest let me know they were unable to accommodate my size today. So I'm wondering if you all have any first class seats available to New Orleans today.
The only seat that I have is that one, the bulkhead, row 1.
Okay, thank you so much. I have tickets to the Saints game tomorrow.
And? What's the crisis? What's the injustice? The airline employee is calm, polite, and explaining a simple, factual logistics problem. The flight is full. They cannot materialize an extra seat. They are giving you the option to rebook elsewhere. This is not a drama. Seriously, what is she proving? What ism is she exposing? Was the agent rude? No. Did they fat shame her? No. Did they refuse her service? No. They gave her a refund and told her how to book elsewhere. The point is, there is no point. This is content generated purely from the perception of victimhood. She's documenting the mild inconvenience of her size while trying to cash in on policies made for it. Look at me, I'm so oppressed because a full flight was full. Look at me, exploiting a customer of size policy. Look at me, jumping to another airline to ask for their most expensive seats. What's the lesson here? That you should be able to board a sold-out flight and demand someone else's seat be given to you for free? That all logistics and economics should bow before your personal spatial requirements? So this video is the perfect example of the problem-seeking nature of this movement. There is no conflict here. There is no villain. There is just a woman who is too large for a standard economy seat, a fact she clearly knows, trying to film a viral moment of oppression.
Girl, the flight was literally at capacity? She literally said she can't oversell the flight just to accommodate you. If this isn't a sign, then what is? Now let me guess, Southwest is the problem, to your obvious problem.
Fat people are hard to find in Japan. Let me explain the game plan on how Japan eliminates fatness. Firstly, fat shaming is normalized. It's very common in Japan for people to tell you if you're getting fat. People will start to treat you differently, and that will motivate you to lose some weight. Japan is built for skinny people. Clothes don't come in large sizes, food portions are quite small, and there's a lot of walking and traveling needed to get around the country. For example, imagine being obese on this train. It's hard to ignore the final point, which is the cooking ingredients in general are healthier in Japan. Their Krispy Kreme donuts have way less sugar. They use different oils at KFC. That's how you achieve the lowest obesity rates in the world. Follow for more.
I just got back from Japan today and am 11 pounds heavier than I was 1 week ago.
Logic-defying fat acceptance rants, where everything is fatphobic.
Fat people's bodies are not a fucking trend. Fat people's bodies are not a fucking trend. Say it again. Fat people's bodies are not a fucking trend that you can just laugh at. No. This is fatphobia. Hello, people. This is fatphobia. Do you not see that this is fatphobia? The people that are doing this trend are outing themselves as awful human beings who hate fat people. That's what's happening here. I hope for the love of God that every single person who has done this, I hope that you get fat. I hope that you get fatter than this fucking AI thing made you.
But wait, I'm confused. I thought fat is beautiful. I thought being fat was a joyful and very positive thing. So, are you wishing them a long, happy life? You're basically just wishing them a promotion, right? Or are you admitting that being fat is actually a miserable state of existence that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy, except you just did? You're hoping people become the very thing you're defending? And are people mocking bodies, or are they just not treating obesity like a sacred cow? Because those are not the same thing.
You get fatter than this fucking AI thing made you. I hope that you get fatter. I hope that you experience the discrimination and the marginalization that fat people face because you think it's so funny. It's so funny, right? I hope that you experience this, and I hope that you become this fat. I genuinely hope so. Like, it's not okay. It's not okay to use fat people as a fucking joke or a fucking trend. I am so sick and tired of seeing fatphobia being right, like, fucking smack dab in the middle, and so many people are like, oh, it doesn't exist, or, oh, there's nothing wrong with it, or, oh, it's just a joke. You're talking about real human beings who look like that, and you're making it a joke? Get fucking bent. Anyway, I also wanted to shout out every single other person who I've seen that's made a video or a post defending the fat people about this trend. I commend you, because battling fat phobia is fucking hard. So thank you. And I really, really, really can't wait for everyone to get fat who did this trend. There you go. Now I just put a spell on you.
Battling fat phobia. There's another battle we should focus on. Battling obesity. Battling the excess visceral fat around organs. We should be indeed scared of excess visceral fat, a rational, medically informed concern. The irony of all of this is that it reveals the exact insecurity the movement tries to hide. If you are truly happy and body positive, why all this? You're weaponizing your own physical state. But nothing says serious social justice argument like ending with pretend witchcraft and casting spells.
Who even came up with this filter?
Whoever did is the most evil person on earth, at least according to Marissa.
So when the chubby girls use the skinny filter, it isn't any different.
Love fat people. I'm on a flight today and I sit next to this 300-pound woman, an absolute masterclass of a person, but she's thick. And about halfway through the flight, I look over and she's squeezing her elbows together, trying to, fit in her little area. So I tap her and I say, hey, I'm going to scoot over a little bit and you can put your foot under the seat in front of me and your arm on the armrest. She looks at me and she goes, what are you trying to say to me? I wanted the plane to crash right there. She starts laughing. She goes, I know I'm a big girl, thanks. Throws her thigh on top of my thigh. We talked the whole time. Now I think we might be in love. I followed her on LinkedIn, so wish me luck.
It was amazing to throw a thigh on you, Bryant. That was you? I get why bro is in love.
I actually don't want to hear another thing about how fat people on this app are like promoting obesity and like influencing other people to become fat, because do you know what I see on my For You page? Do you know what I'm influenced by fat girls on this app? They're fucking running. Me and running have a very clear relationship. My entire life, you don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you, okay? Me and running, we're not like this. But why are they making it look so good? Like, look, I'm like, oh, matcha running looks so fun.
I know that this is a joke, but the logic is weird. She says fat creators don't promote obesity, but says they indeed promote something. Also, she's literally claiming influence from an activity she refuses to participate in.
Influenced me to stop obsessing over numbers and actually start moving my body.
Seriously, if they look at me and think, well dang, I am gonna go get obese cause she pretty, just cause I exist. Do they really think a normal teen looks at me and goes, that's what I want?
Why are skinny people influencing everyone to be skinny? Like the street goes two ways for body shaming. People need to just keep their opinions on body size to themselves.
Is it the fridge protecting the snacks? Guys, can you help me pay my rent and gamble for me with my money? So you're gonna gamble my money with one button. You're about? Yeah. Come. It's a funny video. No, she's gambling for me. It's nothing incriminating. Oh my God, the fucking fridge.
We're always right. We see the truth. We know it's jealousy. It's not protecting.
Why is there diet culture on the parking meters? Why do we have on the parking meters, sometimes I diet, don't feed me on the following holidays? Why are we promoting fat phobia and diet culture even on the parking meters in LA? It gets to a point. It really does get to a point. This is an issue and this needs to be fixed. West Hollywood, this is actually disgusting.
I honestly first thought that she is joking, making fun of her movement sarcastically somehow. But this is, in fact, intentional exaggeration for views. This is rage bait. The meter says, "Sometimes I diet, don't feed me on holidays." In the world of fat activism, the word diet is apparently a psychological trigger equivalent to a literal physical assault. But it is genuinely impressive to see someone navigate the world with a level of narcissism so profound that they believe a piece of metal is trying to bully them. She is clearly someone who has lost all touch with reality and is desperately searching for a reason to feel victimized. This is a level of psychological projection that requires a professional therapist. And the only thing disgusting about this situation is the fact that you think the world needs to change to accommodate your inability to handle a joke.
Is this satire?
What did diet do to you?
So no one has heard the saying, feed the meter?
It's not about feed the meter.
Girl, you are reaching. I'm sorry.
I am sorry you don't understand fatphobia.
Why is diet phobia okay? When's the last time you saw your feet?
Dude, everyone is so fucking fat. It is insane. Dude, everywhere you go now. I'm at Target right now. It is a sea of people that look like they're in the movie WALL-E. You're mean. Mean for what? Observing planet Earth? 15 years ago, shit, even 10 years ago, it didn't look like this. This is insane, bro. You go anywhere in public and have 75% of the people be morbidly obese, obese to morbidly obese. It's fucking crazy, bro. Everywhere you go now, people are so fucking fat they can't get out of their own goddamn way. I don't give a fuck if you think I'm mean. That's sad and scary. I want better for people. I genuinely think that it is industrial seed oils are one of the main culprits. Oh, I stopped listening when you said seed oil. You know how fucking stupid you sound whenever you say, oh, I stopped listening when you mentioned the industrial engine lubricant that's in all of our food, that whenever it started being in all of our food, obesity started fucking skyrocketing. Yes, sugar, I know. Sedentary lifestyle, I know. I also think that like the food that we're eating is so nutrient void and it's so full of chemicals that it's causing us to be always tired and always feel depressed and stuff like that. So then you don't want to do the things that you have to do in order for your body to be in the proper shape that it needs to be in. This is completely fucked, dude. Something has to happen, and that something is not Ozempic. I understand. I'm not shitting on Ozempic. I understand that, you know, really helps some people, and some people can try Ozempic and then, you know, they could maybe like get their life together for the rest of their lives and not be on it anymore. But beyond that, like a pharmaceutical drug should not be the only solution towards this. We shouldn't be in this situation in general. Beauty is such a currency that you see these beautiful people online constantly, so you think that like it looks like everybody's a normal size. Then you go out in public and the smallest woman in the room is 250 pounds. And the men are so fat they can't walk. You know, whenever they're so fat that their legs are glued together at the top and they look like a fucking mermaid? That's everybody I see everywhere. It's sad, dude. When you're that fat, not only is that a burden on our medical system, but it's also, it contributes to all different kinds of things. Heart disease, it contributes to all different kinds of mental illness and stuff like that. When you're that fat, your brain isn't even right because your body isn't right and your nutrition isn't right. Your life isn't right. It makes me sad to think about people that are so fucking fat that they can feel that bad about themselves all the time. Some people, yeah, there's maybe 1 in a million fat people that are like, oh, I'm totally fine, this is cool. But the majority of them feel like total shit. Because I know how I feel whenever I start eating like shit and start gaining weight and get sluggish. You don't want to have sex. You don't have energy. You know what I mean? You don't feel sexy. You don't feel good about yourself. That is so fucked and so sad. We have to do something about that.
The people that disagree look a certain way.
Add to that, their audacity to give out fitness and nutrition advice.
To me, I wouldn't buy from a brand that said this kind of thing. Brands don't need to stock XXXL. You just need to choose health and drop to a safe size. This is problematic AF. This is Marissa. She is the founder and creative director of Samyra. Listen, it is 6:15 in the morning. My pronunciation is below par at this point, and I apologize. And the hoodies run for about 190 Australian dollars, which is around 125 US dollars. Now listen, I'm not buying hoodies for over $100. But this video really struck me. It implies that folk in larger bodies don't deserve dignity, don't deserve clothing, and ultimately don't deserve representation. And it frames thinness as this moral or personal achievement, being in a larger body as some kind of personal failure, which is a classic fatphobic narrative, and it ignores the reality that bodies come in all shapes and sizes. Body size is dictated by many things: genetics, hormones, medications, medical history, socioeconomic factors. It also
Notice what's absent from this exhaustive catalog? The amount of food you put in your mouth. The one variable that is universally adjustable. The primary lever of energy balance. To leave it out is not an oversight. It must be ignored, because to acknowledge it is to introduce the terrifying, oppressive concept of personal agency. It's like explaining why a bathtub overflowed by listing the plumbing history, the brand of faucet, the humidity in the room, and the socioeconomic background of the house, while refusing to mention that the tap was left on.
Come in all shapes and sizes. Body size is dictated by many things: genetics, hormones, medications, medical history, socioeconomic factors. It also slightly weirdly treats clothing and access to certain brands as some kind of reward. Clothing, along with access to food, is a basic human right, not something you earn by having a certain body type, a certain income, and suggesting that only smaller bodies can have access to certain types of clothing reinforces exclusion. Icky as fuck. And much lower down on the priority list of why this is problematic. Brands that are not size inclusive are making a business choice. You are saying, I'm going to exclude an entire group of people. Fun fact, folk in larger bodies do have money. And telling them to shrink rather than serving them, it's not only discriminatory, it's also just financially stupid, if you ask me. Ultimately, this kind of narrative just really oversimplifies one's health, incorrectly implies that those in smaller bodies are healthier, completely forgets that health is not a size, and that health is complex and looks different on every single body. And this kind of narrative increases shame, increases stigma, which can actually worsen our health outcomes, by the way. So whilst I'm not in Australia and I would absolutely never spend $120 on a hoodie, I would also never buy anything from a brand that has a founder that has this kind of narrative around people.
The level of delusion required to claim that access to a luxury streetwear hoodie is a basic human right is honestly staggering, but it perfectly illustrates the narcissistic core of this movement. Fat people are not being discriminated against because a niche brand founder who is running her own business with her own money decides to focus on a specific athletic aesthetic that doesn't include XXXL. This is a personal brand, a niche market, and she has every right to curate the image and the sizing of her label however she sees fit. Clothing is a necessity, sure, but high-end fashion is a privilege, and the idea that a business is financially stupid for not catering to a demographic that literally embodies the opposite of their brand's health and fitness message is weird. It's not problematic AF to have a target audience, it's just business. Also, health is not a size is just a fancy way of saying, I don't care. Health is absolutely related to size when that size is caused by an accumulation of visceral fat.
And if she did carry that size, they would be $200 to make sure to punish us more.
Regardless of size, people need clothes.
Buy from somewhere that does your massive size.
I'm gonna start treating fat people like tall people. I'm 6'1", so I can't go anywhere without someone being like, oh my gosh, you're so tall. How tall are you? So, oh my gosh, what do you weigh? You're so fat. How fat are you?
And I was like, why are you so obsessed with me?
Notice she only picked out one group of people she doing it to though.